In the heart of 20th century South Africa, a nation was torn apart by a relentless system of racial segregation, apartheid. Across its sun-baked plains and bustling cities, millions lived under laws that assigned rights and dignity by the color of their skin. But from this injustice rose a figure whose name would come to symbolize the struggle for freedom: Nelson Mandela. This is the story of his fight for freedom. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in the village of Mvezo in the Eastern Cape. He was a member of the Thembu royal family, but his early life was shaped more by the rich traditions of his Xhosa people than by privilege. His father, a local chief, died when Nelson was just 9. Sent to live with Chief Jongintaba, the regent of the Thembu, young Mandela received both the formal education of a colonial school and the storytelling of his ancestors. At Fort Hare University, Mandela first encountered modern nationalism. From debating clubs to secret cultural societies, he tasted the flame of political activism. But when he organized a student protest, the colonial authorities expelled him. Rather than dim his spirit, this expulsion set him on a broader stage: Johannesburg. It was 1941, and this booming city would forge the activist. In Johannesburg, Mandela found work as a law clerk and later studied law at the University of South Africa. He experienced firsthand the indignities of apartheid: passed laws restricting movement, curfews, forced removals. With his friend Oliver Tambo, he opened the country's first black law firm, defending those victimized by the regime. Within the African National Congress, Mandela rose quickly, helping to found the ANC Youth League in 1944. They challenged the older leadership to adopt a more robust, mass-based strategy. By the late 1940s, South Africa's government formalized apartheid, codifying racial segregation and oppression into law. The Natives' Urban Areas Act forced black families into townships on city outskirts. The Population Registration Act classified every South African by race. In response, Mandela and the ANC Youth League championed a program of non-violent resistance: boycotts, strikes, civil disobedience, and mass demonstrations. In 1952, Mandela launched the Defiance Campaign. Thousands of volunteers purposefully broke apartheid laws, burning passbooks, sitting in whites-only benches, occupying European train carriages. Despite arrests and imprisonment, the campaign drew international attention, but hope mingled with tragedy. On March 23, 1960, in Sharpeville, police opened fire on peaceful protesters demanding the abolition of past laws. 69 were killed, hundreds wounded. The horror of Sharpeville shook the world and led the South African government to ban the ANC and the Pan-Africanist Congress. Mandela, then in hiding, faced a choice: continue underground organizing or take up armed struggle. By 1961, Mandela had co-founded Umkhonto Sizwe, the Spear of the Nation, as the armed wing of the ANC. The new strategy focused on sabotage, targeting government facilities but aiming to avoid civilian casualties. "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society," Mandela later wrote, "in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities." He believed that violence, restrained and strategic, was the only lever left against a brutal regime. From clandestine bombings of power stations to training camps in neighboring countries, Mandela worked tirelessly to unite the ANC's military and political fronts. But clandestine life was perilous. Betrayal lurked in every shadow as informers and police hunted the network. On July 11th, 1963, police raided Liliesleaf Farm in Rivonia, near Johannesburg, seizing documents that detailed Umkhonto's operations. Mandela, already arrested earlier that summer, stood trial alongside 8 comrades. In Pretoria Supreme Court, Justice de Wet offered them death sentences, but the defendants, led by Mandela, turned the courtroom into a political stage. In his iconic "I am prepared to die" speech, Mandela declared, "During my lifetime, I have dedicated myself to this struggle of the African people. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." The trial ended with sentences of life imprisonment rather than death, sparking global protests that would intensify the anti-apartheid movement. Mandela was sent to Robben Island, a rocky outcrop off Cape Town, where he would spend 18 of his 27 years behind bars. Prisoners wore chain gang stripes, labored in limestone quarries under the blazing sun, given minimal rations. Yet Robben Island became a university of resistance. Mandela and fellow inmates, Walter Sisulu, Govan Mbeki, Ahmed Kathrada, debated political strategy, history, and philosophy. They maintained discipline, conducted secret education classes, and corresponded with the ANC leadership abroad. Letters smuggled through layers of guards kept Mandela connected to the outside world, while apartheid tightened its grip on the mainland. International campaigns lobbied for Mandela's release. The United Nations called apartheid a crime against humanity in 1973. The Organization of African Unity urged economic sanctions, and young activists worldwide popularized the slogan, "Free Mandela." By the mid-1980s, internal unrest and international sanctions strained South Africa's economy. President P.W. Botha offered Mandela conditional release, demanding he renounce violence. But Mandela refused. In 1989, F.W. de Klerk succeeded Botha and recognized change was inevitable. He lifted the ban on the ANC and other political organizations and released political prisoners. On February 11, 1990, at Cape Town City Hall, Mandela walked through the gates of Victor Verster Prison a free man. He wore a tailored suit, stepped onto a balcony, and addressed a jubilant crowd. "I greet you all in the name of peace, democracy, and freedom for all." The path to democracy was fraught with violence and political brinkmanship. Negotiations between Mandela and de Klerk's government nearly collapsed. Inkatha Freedom Party clashes ignited ethnic tensions. Yet Mandela's leadership, vision, and unwavering commitment to reconciliation steered the process forward. He formed the Multi-Party Negotiation Forum, crafting a transitional constitution that enshrined equal rights. In April 1994, South Africa held its first universal elections. Millions queued for hours, braving long travel and violence. When ballots closed, the ANC emerged victorious with nearly 63% of the vote. On May 10, 1994, Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president. His inauguration at the Union Buildings in Pretoria was watched by dignitaries and citizens worldwide. In his inaugural address, he urged South Africans to embrace the Rainbow Nation, shedding the divisions of the past. As president, Mandela focused on national reconciliation. He established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission under Archbishop Desmond Tutu, uncovering apartheid's crimes to foster healing rather than vengeance. His government expanded education, healthcare, and housing for the historically oppressed, while maintaining economic stability to win the support of the white minority. After one term, Mandela stepped down in 1999, prioritizing democratic norms over personal power. He continued his work through the Nelson Mandela Foundation, advocating for HIV/AIDS awareness and global peace initiatives. Even in retirement, his moral authority shaped debates on human rights. Nelson Mandela passed away on December 5, 2013, at the age of 95. His life, from a rural Xhosa village to the world stage, epitomizes the journey from oppression to liberation. He showed that courage, conviction, and the capacity to forgive can transform nations. Nelson Mandela's fight for freedom was not a solitary battle, but a collective struggle of millions who dared to dream of equality. His story reminds us that freedom is neither given nor taken. It is fought for, nurtured, and protected by every generation. As the sun sets over South Africa's rainbow horizon, the spirit of Madiba endures, a testament to the enduring power of hope, resilience, and the human will to be free.